Also critical for creating the
Do we have everyone يا شباب ready for the Quran recitation for a few minutes before we start our conference inshallah. I missed the reciting Quran with you يا شباب, but I'm sure Kamhawi he made an amazing job. Now I'm going to see lots of sheikhs who are going to be reciting now. They're going to get started or not? Yes, and check the sound and everything. I see the notification. Yeah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. This is the 15 minutes before يا شباب and someone should be taking care of this and check the sound and everything because يعني ايه Zoom is taking the sound through this someone need يعني if we had a non-useless media team we should have a better camera to track people as they are reciting. Who is going to be my first reciter يا شباب؟ I thought of how we turned you into mashallah great reciters. Who's going to get started? يلا يوسف.
وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لم يره أحد ألم نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجدين فلاقتحم العقبة وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة أولئك أصحاب الميمنة.
بارك الله فيك. You want to take the last آية of the surah?
والذين كفروا بآياتنا هم أصحاب المشأمة عليهم نار مؤصدة.
بارك الله. Who's my next reciter? You want to do it also? لا أقسمه. والشمس
وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بتقواها إذ بعد أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها.
يلا continue the page. Yes.
والليل إذا يغشى والنهار إذا تجلى وما خلق الذكر والأنثى إن سعيكم لشتى فأما من أعطى واتقى وصدق وصدق بالحسنى. صدق بالحسنى فسنيسره لليسرى. وأما من بخل واستغنى وكذب بالحسنى.
Who's next يا شباب؟ Let's try this microphone and let's see which one is going to be better, inshallah.
والليل إذا يغشاها
No, actually, start from here. Start from this one.
فيسلكون إلى أسرى وما يغني عن إيمانه إذا تركه إن الهدى وإن لنا للآخرة والأولى.
الآخرة ولا الآخرة؟
الآخرة والأولى. فأولئك نارا تلقى لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى الذي كذب وتولى وسيجنبها الأتقى الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى ولسوف يرضى.
بارك الله فيك. Do you want to continue or do you want to get to يلا. يلا.
والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى. ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا
No. وجدك ضالا فهدى. You see the sixth حركة? You see, it's beautiful whenever you have mad followed by shadda, you give it six حركة. ضالا فهدى.
ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر
دقة هاو ونريد خلق دقات دقة هاو.
وأما اليتيم فلا تقهر.
No, not ها. ها. The way you said it, Hamza, طاقة ها. No, there is no sound ها in Arabic. طاقة هاو. طاقة هاو.
فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر.
So that whenever you're reading people in Salah, يعني if you are leading someone behind you, he doesn't say, who is that idiot who didn't find anyone to teach him Quran? تقهر. صوت ها. 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 رو. تقهر.
تقهر. وأما السائل فلا وأما السائل فلا تنهر.
نطها تنها ها 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 نطها ها تنهار.
تنهر. وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. ألم أشرح لك صدرك.
Not na. لا, there is no na.
ألم أشرح.
This sound does not exist in Arabic. Arab do not have the sound na. ألم نشرح.
ألم نشرح لك صدرك.
Not da. Is it dad or is it dal? Is it صد or is it صدرك؟ صاد مفخمة، دال مرققة، راء مفخمة. صدرك.
صدرك.
Because by the way, there are some girls at the back, they know tajweed. So they keep saying, who is that boy? Who is, how old is he? And he does not know how to read. ألم نشرح لك صدرك. صدرك.
صدرك. ووضعنا عنك وزرك.
Who is the next one who's going to be roasted? يلا.
الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا
ورك.
لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب.
You know the fa, the lower lip need to touch the upper teeth. فرغت.
فرغت فانصب. وإلى ربك فارغب.
غاب.
فارغب.
يلا keep going Ed.
والتين والزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين
لقد
خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات
way too much elongation just to حركة وعملوا الصالحات
وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون.
not mama there is no قلقلة on the meme. Meme is not from the letters of قلقلة. ممنون.
ممنون. فما يكذبك بالذكر أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين.
بارك الله فيك. Should we get العلق or should we get started? Actually, let's start from علق next time inshallah. Go set the option. Yeah, we can start sharing this please. Give me the microphone back. Now I'm going to sit down. The review team to take over. Where are the 25 girls? Where are the 25 girls? I'm sorry, where are the commitments? What do you mean they're on their way? Are you going to let them enter late? Where is the commitment of the girls? Where are the girls? Huh? Not what? Not in 30 yet? Okay. My review team was going to get started. Our review was going to be what was going to be in C? I'll be in C. So it was in C? Okay. All right. It's 10:30, inshallah. Let's begin. They can sit down. Good. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome to the second annual Tamkeen Reflection Conference. Inshallah, we have a lot of great speakers lined up for you today, a great agenda, inshallah. So this is our agenda for today, inshallah. Right now, we're going to have value reflections and the review process. After that, we're going to have a little bit of a boys' debate. After that, some rapid-fire speeches. And then, inshallah, we're going to break for Dhuhr and some light refreshments. And then afterwards, we're going to have some words with from Sheikh and the boys' reflection team. Afterwards, and then we're going to have the keynote speeches after that one. and then go over some highlighted articles, another round of rapid fire speeches, and then celebrate the authors and the raffle winners. And inshallah, we're gonna have food at 6:45 p.m. Inshallah. Before we begin, I wanted to go over. So in the audience, inshallah, we have mics that we can pass around. If you guys have any questions after the speeches, you can raise your hand. There's going to be a time for Q&A. But if you don't feel comfortable talking out loud, inshallah, you can pull up your phone, go to slido.com, and you can scan that QR code or join using that code. And inshallah, you can submit your questions through the Slido anonymously. And inshallah, I'll be trying my best to monitor all the questions coming in from Slido. So if you don't feel comfortable speaking out loud using the mic, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna give people a couple seconds, inshallah, to get this set up before I move on, because the QR code is not going to be showing up here in the presentation. I'll just give 1 minute, inshallah, for people to get the Slido set up, if they want to get it set up, and then we'll move on, inshallah. Is everyone good, inshallah? Okay. So let's move on to the value of reflections by our sister.
Let's get started with the debate.
All right.
The sister is telling you that there's big value in reflection. Let's start with the debate.
Okay. So there's a lot of value in reflections. Okay, I guess we can move on from there. All right. So I think this is the presentation from the previous. Okay. So inshallah, we're going to move on to the boys' debate now. 20 minutes early. So I hope you guys are ready. Inshallah. The topic is changing the government, an article by Abu Gibran. Who are our debaters? Come to the front. Give them a round of applause, everyone.
All right, so inshallah, before we begin the debate, we're gonna have some questions to get some get everyone's thoughts before and then after. Okay, so you can either answer anonymously or you can raise your hand to respond to the question, okay? And then
Okay, so I scheduled a little bit backwards. So now we're gonna move on to which was supposed to be the first talk of the session. The value of reflections.
Is there a clicker or something, or should actually make you enjoy the truth of your advance the slide? Is there a clicker? Oh, but the clicker we have to connect to the camera, which is okay. But what if you join Zoom so that you can present from wherever you are and share your screen? What about the cameras? We will use the
one over here.
ah ah Zoom link. Wait, same as Saturday. I can set same as the Saturday link. Maybe we have to click on the slide. Yes. Oh yes, it's working. It's working. Okay. Yeah, I think we should use that. Oh yes, very good. دايما ايه we appreciate having قمحاوي technology. Share.
I have my script. Oh. My script is here.
Your script is here.
La, 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 they can't. Okay. Allah. Oh my god.
Okay, can you share it with me?
Yeah, sure.
Is it on the peer review team?
It's my email.
Can we just stop sharing?
Yeah.
Did you stop sharing?
Stop sharing stuff.
Wait, how do you stop sharing, bro?
It's stopped. It's stopped. Don't worry.
It stopped?
Yeah.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Okay.
No, go here really quickly.
Just email it. Email it to her so she can use it in her laptop.
This it?
No. For the
Okay, bruh.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, here. Okay, share the screen.
Okay.
No, you have to go to Zoom. Window, go to window.
Okay. There you go.
Slideshow.
Okay, I'm really, really sorry about that.
You're mute? Zoom.
Okay.
What echo then?
Yeah, Lena.
From Chef?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here, let me do this. Oh, I'm not muted.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Frick. Can you open this? Oh, sorry. Can you, Miriam? I just heard you say. It's 193. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Tamkeeners. Welcome to our annual Reflections Conference. It is with great pleasure that we stand before you today to be reminded of Allah in everything we do, even in something like writing articles. The act of reflection holds profound importance. As Muslims, we are encouraged to ponder over the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every single thing. It is through reflection that we deepen our understanding of our faith, strengthen our connection with Allah, and strive towards self-improvement. We can almost rewire ourselves toward reward, realizing that there are many different mindsets we could take that are better for us. To start off, our armor in this dunya is your awareness and your discipline. You always have to be armoring yourself towards the haram, or against the haram, sorry. Haram is very, very contagious, and it can influence you and your children and your children's children. So you need to make sure that you have a good mindset so that whoever comes after you also has a good mindset. There are so many haram influences because doing haram nowadays is as alarming as drinking water. It isn't seen as terrible at all. People just let their desires take over like mindless zombies no matter what, and turn off their curiosity to speak or to think or to reflect. I want you guys to look at this analogy. If you're a weak Muslim, things that you may see on the left may influence you. But if you're a strong Muslim, you will have kind of a much stronger iman, and you'll be able to fight against it.
Fight against the falsehood.
Yeah, fight against the falsehood. Your nafs, definitely, you need to strengthen your nafs, and that comes with reflection. Reflection is what makes us who we are. We learn from our own mistakes, but we also learn from the mistakes of others. Or as Sheikh likes to say, the people before us. We do not want to make the same mistakes as the weak Muslims before us who fell into the traps of influence from the disbelievers. Today, reflection is not that common in our world. I mean, it is, but more on the realities that people want rather than what they need. It is pretty obvious. How many people around you at school or work are Muslim? Not many, because people do not want to think. They do not want to reflect on the signs around them. It is too serious and intimidating for them, and Islam is not a religion for babies. It is the way of life for strong individuals who accept Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as their Lord and humble themselves with their egos. While this may seem broad, it is so clear-cut. We have an unchanged book and an unchanged aqidah. With enough reflection, you will understand how contagious the haram influence is. Something that I really, really like about reflection articles is the commitment. When you write a reflection article, it is your word. It is what you believe and is based on your values. You have a responsibility to make sure that you're sharing something that you truly believe in and hopefully that you actually think is the truth. While you may be anonymous, you are still going to influence others with your words. So you need to make sure that everything that you're saying is based on the truth and based on good values. to learn from others and to think. We started a bit late, but I think this is a good analogy to kind of bring up how we had the boys kind of debating. We have different opinions and both are okay, depending on what you think, but it was very nice to see people having their own opinions and fighting for what they believe is the truth and kind of having examples and points to support their opinions. And I think that is very, very important for all Muslims. You need to be able to think with your own mind and not just from somebody else. Obviously, it's good to have a good influence and making sure you're learning from someone respectable and who has a lot of knowledge, but at the same time, it's also good to have your own ideas and to be able to produce your own arguments, because in the real world, you're going to be alone and you need to make sure that you have enough strength to fight for yourself and your opinions. Firstly, let's define what a reflection article is. I mean, it's pretty simple. Essentially, it's just a piece of writing where we take a step back to think deeply about any event or experience and we relate it to Islam if it's not yet related already. It is more than just an observation. It's kind of like your ideas and other people's ideas and kind of, merged together. Okay. So now let's move on to the review process. I think something that we really, really need to emphasize is that it is your property and Tamkeen really respects that. While maybe whatever you're talking about, I don't know, like maybe Tamkeen doesn't necessarily agree with it or something like that, it is still your property and we're not going to change it. We're just going to give suggestions. That's why I think the way that we do it is very good. We give suggestions and we kind of hold it as if it is your power. It is your property. I want you to look at this analogy. So let's say you just bought a house with your wife and your 2 kids. It's your house and you give your wife the authority for decoration, right? Because I don't know, women tend to be more creative on that type of thing. So, since the wife is in charge of the decorating, you have the husband over here who's asking like, oh, should we paint the walls green? Like, I like green, or like something like that. Should we put frogs on the wall or something like that? And the wife is obviously like, no, but maybe the husband gives a good suggestion, like, this is a nice island to put over here or some nice chairs or something like that. And the wife accepts these suggestions because in the end, obviously, it's the home. Anyways, a reflection article kind of starts out like this. It kind of takes a draft or maybe 2 drafts, but with continuous work and a few reviewers, you can really build your article to be something really great. Wallahi, we have so many good articles that I think would actually benefit a lot of people outside of Tamkeen as well. Okay, so we have the first wave of review. The first wave of review is kind of consists of like grammatical edits and corrections. As I said before, it is your article, so even those corrections stay as suggestions until you accept or reject as you please. We want to ensure that you're actually seeing our edits so that you learn in the future and can write more eloquent articles. Then we send it back to the author and hopefully, we see maybe a few changes, maybe they accepted some things, maybe they rejected some things, maybe they're like, this word was spelled correctly, something like that. But that is the first wave. So usually it is grammatical stuff, kind of like formatting. And then we have the second wave. When we get it back, we erase the rejected suggestions and we start with our second wave of review, done by a chief reviewer. The second wave is more on the general side, where we look at the specifics and give suggestions on that. Many times we have gotten articles with a hint of error, an idea, not giving proper respect to scholars and or prophets, or not giving respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded, etc. So usually we either write a suggestion.
Yes, we started the first wave with grammatical untypos. And then after the author would accept, you tell him, no, but your ideas have problem. It should be the other way, Yasmin. The first wave, it should be at the idea level. And if the idea has major problems, so that the author can correct at the idea level, because they're gonna type. Then at the very end, when this is the type, isn't this the other way around? Am I
Yes.
correct or not?
Yes. Sorry. Okay, right.
I'm also giving suggestion. It is your property, Yasmir.
No.
You are the leader, but I'm giving suggestion. It doesn't make sense. You fix the typo, and then we tell the author, no, rewrite your article because the idea is bad. You want to work at the idea level first. You know, it looks like, can you go back to the house picture? Yes, it is as if you are giving suggestion for what color needs to be painted before you put the walls. Put the walls first and then paint. Am I correct?
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, we're improving. Sorry for the interruption.
No. It's okay. I definitely agree. I think if the article is more on the extreme side, or not extreme, I would definitely not extreme. More on the more on the where it is like a really it's using a lot of big opinions or something like that. I think that's usually when we start off with kind of the second wave and then the first wave. But okay. Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah. So, anyways, the writing of reflection article serves as a platform for each of us to articulate our unique perspectives, insights, and aspirations. In a community as diverse as ours, every individual brings a wealth of experiences, beliefs, and aspirations to the table. By sharing reflections, we open doors of curiosity and engagement with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it.
We got an amazing job. Jazakumullah khair, everyone in the review team. And maybe at the very end of the conference, we're going to reveal all the names of the review team. Those who are hiding behind peer review. What is the email called? Tamkeen peer review at gmail.com. At the end of the conference, inshallah, we can reveal who are those amazing people from the girls' side and from the boys' side. Jazakumullah khair. Without all the efforts you have been doing, the authors would not have been tortured that much, but then we would not have such a beautiful conference. But really, what we have in technical conferences, whenever I submit my paper to a journal, I get a major revision. Major revision, this is attacking my technical idea, attacking my algorithm. After I'm done with the major review, we get what we call minor review. Once I get a minor review, it makes sense to me the article is going to be accepted. It is only the typos and this stuff. So major review at the idea level, minor review at the typo level, and then inshallah it gets accepted.
Jazakumullah khair for that insight. Next, we'll move on to our first round of rapid fire speeches. Who's excited? Our first presenter, with a round of applause, we have people what's going on. Okay, so inshallah you will have 7 minutes to talk and then 7 minutes Q&A afterwards, okay? All right, please come forward.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope that everybody's doing well, inshallah, but today I'll be talking about how LGBTQ has shaped their society in a bad way. So as you can see, there's the flag, and this is broken down into many things, like a male wanting to change their gender to a female. And as we know, it's haram to change your gender because you get it at birth and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses your gender. or a female getting married to a female, or a male getting married to a male. And first of all, this sounds wrong, obviously, because you can only male only marry female, male only marry female. So these are some suicide statistics, and according to quote unquote the Trevor Project, every 45 seconds, LGBTQ youth ages 13 to 24 commit suicide after becoming gay, which just shows us that this is another reason why you should not be thinking about this or engaging in all this corruption. So during the time of Prophet Salam, the people of Sodom were engaging in all of this corruption. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Prophet Lut to guide and warn all these people of all their crimes that they're committing. So then after that they got destroyed, but only the people who obeyed Prophet Lut alayhi salam were saved from this hefty punishment. You guys might also be wondering, how are these people, why do they promote it so much and how are they benefiting from it? Well, there's a secret. They're promoting transgender surgery so much because it comes in big dollars. It's like about more than 100,000 for one surgery with it, which is a lot of money if you think about it. And then they put it all in their pockets. So for children, this agenda is really being put on children because these children are young and they don't really know a lot. So the evil people are trying to poison them, inject this agenda into them. So at a young age. So then when they're older, they don't know who they are, if they're male or female. So there's many different ways. For example, in this scenario, think about it. What about if you had a 7-year-old kid and he came up to you and said, "Dad, can I be a female?" What would you do? You might be thinking, there's so much different ways that they're trying to put the agenda in the society. Like, obviously, in elementary school, middle school, high school, because this is where all the kids go. So that's where they poison them. And obviously in games, so they say, why don't we poison them from an early age? Like, for example, as you can see in Subway Surfers, they try to hide the flags in the corner. So then little kids might go up to their parents, ask them, what is this? Or even in parks, like as you can see at the Apple Park. So what could we be doing from our side? We could teach our kids from the early age to not engage in this and teach them all the bad stuff about it and how corrupted it is. And also, one major point is we should not try to let our kids go to public schools. Instead, let them attend Arabic schools because, as we know, this is where they learn all this corruption. Jazakallah everyone for listening. Any questions?
Any questions from the audience?
So at what age they start promoting this stuff to kids?
Usually at like maybe 8 years old, 5 years old, because little kids, like I said, they don't really know that much.
So do you think that then is your opinion that young kids or even kids growing up in middle school and high school shouldn't be going to public school?
Nowadays, yeah, because it's gotten to a point where it's so bad, where they're even starting to teach it to kids.
Following up, so I think a lot of the times that what parents have a concern is that sending their kids to these schools is because that these schools have better education programs than our generic Islamic schools or Arabic schools that you have. So how do we, like, what's your opinion on that? Like, if parents want their kids to have a good education, so they're sending them to these public schools, but these public schools are obviously promoting these things. How do we balance that?
I think maybe the parent could try talking with the principal of the school and like explain and the administrators and admins of that school district or school and telling them that I don't want my children to be learning all this corruption, and like really describe to them that you shouldn't be teaching it to my kids. Just
The principal will target your kids.
Okay, next question.
So when you said the thing about public schools, like don't go to them because they poison you and stuff. I think even in Arabic schools you can still get poisoned because the LGBTQ stuff is everywhere. For example, Arab countries you can't get away from this. They're being funded and doing all this stuff. I think it's impossible to escape, but you should just try to not get too involved in it. That's just one thing.
Your question on the touchdown. Yeah.
Actually, Yusuf, when you said they start teaching at the age of 7 years old, I think they started teaching the kids about this topic before they are born. They are even brainwashing sometimes, the minds of the parents before you take it to the other side. In the old days, Ridwan, I was saying kids can go to public school in the very old days during the time of my Lord. I said they can go to public school in the morning and then Tamkeen will fix all the problems in the evening or on Saturday. As you are holding the microphone to Snackman, you can comment on this. If you think Tamkeen can do this or the wave is way bigger than we can afford.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the key is definitely a way to do it. It's just the wave is just too big, and people are at school five days a week, and they have more involvement outside of Saturdays.
So a lot of parents don't exactly have the option to send their kids to these specific schools or homeschooling or any other option. So like they're forced to send them to public schools because they're free. So like, what do you think they should do if like the kids are forced to go to public school?
like I said, like talk with the admins and administrators.
But the admin, the administrators, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to tell you, oh no, you are a homophobic and you are a terrorist. But the admin, the principal, they're not going to do anything. They're going to go after you.
At that point, just like abandon that school.
So just don't go to school.
Just like try your best.
We're going to try it.
We have a lot of questions, mashallah. Let me go off my route.
Yeah, Jazakallah khairan, Yusuf. And I just wanted to ask you, so I think, do you think that all the kids should, or parents should try to put their kids into, like, let's say it's not for Arabic schools, like they should put all their effort into doing that?
They could try with public schools first, like I said, with the admins and the principals first. And if that doesn't work out, then yeah.
Yeah, and just, oh yeah, all right, Jazakallah.
I just wanted to add to a point that Sheikh made. I have like a 2-year-old brother that watches like stuff like Pokemon and other little kids TV shows, and they promote that stuff. I can see it everywhere. And like in school, in my health and PE fitness class, it's like by law they have to teach you that stuff, homosexual stuff and whatever. So yeah, it's everywhere in my middle school, elementary school, and high school. So,
yeah, it is unfortunately everywhere. What you can do is educate yourself and your kids. Start at an early age. Enforce the gender identity of your kids. Let your son know that he is a son and that he's a boy, and reinforce this idea into your kids so that they're not startled when somebody tries to misidentify them with gender or so-called pronouns, so they're not confused. Oh, so you said, I know you go to public school. How do you personally deal with LGBT? I just try to like avoid them, and then if I hear people talking about it, I just like just storm away. Also, I'm trying to avoid all that. Also, I have another question. Would you rather have a gay son or a just one more comment on the presentation. Yusuf, very good job. You mentioned big dollars. So the big dollars, I just want to comment on that. An average, transgender, they accumulate at least $3 million of medical bills through their short life. So if you are not a transgender, you are gonna be not as beneficial to the medical community and the pharmaceutical community and the businesses. You are like less than 1/3 of what their spending is going to be for the healthcare. In the name of the hormones, in the name of the surgeries, and to balance your issues and your psychotic episodes and your hospital visits and ER visits, it is 3 to 4 times more than an average normal individual than interest. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Can we advocate for it Tamkeen a big percentage for pharmaceutical companies? No.
Okay, does anyone have questions? I think we have to move on now. But before we do that, I just want to get a couple comments from the Slido. And please don't spam the Slido, for God's sake. So, Yusuf, the question for you. So, homeschool, question mark. How will you strengthen your kid against haram? How will you reinforce your kid?
If you're at homeschool, you have more advantage of talking. You have more time. You have more time. You're more time to talk with your kid about how this is so corrupt and
Okay, next question. Also, if you are trying to protect your kids from this by taking them out of public schools, won't they encounter this issue when they're older?
like I said, tell them from an early age how corrupt it is and tell them to not engage and stay away.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Give a round of applause for Yusuf. Let's start with that. Okay, inshallah. Next rapid fire speech is by one of the sisters, corruption of the younger generation.
So, looks like she's not able to be here. Who's gonna highlight the article? Can someone give an overview of the discussion? Do you read it? Do you remember what it was about?
Yeah. You also have the clicker. There's like a couple slides.
So actually, our great Tamkeen is not able to make it here today, but actually this article is one of the best articles. Who read this article? Raise up your hand to read this article. Okay, what about the rest? So actually the article started by when we were going to the Kuma Masjid. One of the Tamkeen girls, she spotted a casino on the way. She spotted what? A casino on the way to the Kuma Masjid. And this casino is owned by what? Indian tribes. The reflection was, again,
If the people who came here to this land and they want to take the land from the native people of the US, how can we take the land from them? Simply give them some corruption, give them casino, give them some fun, let them do gambling, give them all those kind of alcoholic drinks or whatever. Corrupt the younger generation. They own a casino, they will never ask again for their land. Did you get the point, Shabab? Did you see the reflection? So she noted a casino on the way, owned by Indian tribes. Why? Those who came to the US to take the land. If we want to keep the land, if we want to make sure that the native people of the land are not going to revolt against us, physically corrupt them, gambling, let them have fun, as fun as possible. Games, the younger ones become corrupted, it's over. We take the land. And then the article goes on. Whenever the people came here and invaded this land, they took the kids of those native tribes, they forced them in schools. They were not allowed to speak their own native language. You have to speak English. You have to dress like us. You are not allowed to dress like your native people. No education. So generation after generation after generation, no one is telling those people it is our land. It is over. And then the analogy is made to our countries. Here is the point, Shabab. If we want to make sure that none of you would be asking or fighting for any Muslim cause, give you corruption, give you fun, have your phone stack, man, and keep looking for funny videos day and night. Give you some kind of movies that are going to entertain you and will give the day and night. And you will never be asking for the Muslim land that is taken by our enemies. Did you see the analogy? One final point I want to make, Shabab, over here, and this is a suggestion that I gave to the Tamkeener in the presentation. Here is one point. How many of you as of now are dressed in pants like me? All of you, even uniform? Do you know, Shabab, that there was fatwa from Al-Azhar? These pants are haram to wear. You know that there was this fatwa from the Azhar? And this fatwa makes a lot of sense. You need to understand the context. You need to understand the context. Whenever the British forces came to Egypt and occupied the land, they controlled the schools. And if you go with the dress of how Egyptians were dressed in their jilbab, their toque, or whatever in the school, having the imam and the turban, they will kick you out. You have to be dressed in pants and putting the western hat to go to school. But if you put the tarbush, you know the tarbush? The Turkish one, or the imam and the turban, you are kicked out of school. If you are dressed in jilbab, like how people were dressed, you are kicked out. You have to wear the pants and put the hat. And this is when Al-Azhar made the fatwa, putting the hat and the pants on are haram, not because they are haram on their own, but because you are imitating the people who occupy our land. If you want to dress like them and they occupy our land, you are betraying us. You are one of them. So putting the hat at that time and getting the pants, you want to look like them, it is haram. And this is how Al-Azhar trying to save the identity of Egyptians. But here, for Native Americans, you have to go to our public schools. You are not allowed to speak in your language. You are not allowed to dress like your people. And we are going to give you as much gazillions as you want. And then we are done. We own the land. Do you understand, Shabab? Did you get the message? I feel bad, wallahi, Shabab, for you. Whenever I see some of you walking in ripped jeans, with weird haircuts, and using all the Western water. This does not make sense, يا شباب. If they are able to corrupt you the same way they did to the Native Americans over here, we have no hope. I give a summary. For sure, I read the article when it was published. I did not read the article recently, but every word stuck in my mind. Any more comments from the girls? Maybe you have some notes from the...
Yeah. We're going to try, inshallah, to mention a few points from the author's article to the best of our ability. Sheikh, alhamdulillah, gave us a really good summary of the article. And, one of the points that the author was going to mention was a quote by someone named George Santayana, I think. And this quote was by a Spanish philosopher. He said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." So if we do not take the opportunity to learn our history, to learn the history of Islam, to learn the history of the fall of our ummah, then we are condemned to repeat this history. If we do not learn the history of the Native Americans who lived in this country before the white Americans now, then we are condemned to fall into the same trap that those people fell into. They started off holding strong to their traditions, holding strong to their culture. But when one man who thought that he had authority over them, he could teach them civilization, that is when the Native Americans began to fall, because they began to fall for the traps of the white American men. They were intimidated. They didn't have the knowledge.
They were intimidated by the knowledge of these white people and the industrialization that they brought with them. So they technically listened to everything that they said, which is really similar if we look at it to, we have a lot of bad dictators in many of these majority Muslim countries that kind of just bow down to the West and to the authority of the West because they are intimidated by the West, and they are intimidated by the idea of the power in these superhero countries. But yeah, we definitely do not want to repeat the same mistake, but I mean, it's kind of happening right now. If you look right now with the Arab leaders.
Another thing that the author mentioned in the article was regarding schools, and how when Native American youth went to school, what happened was that they were punished by beating, or punished when they came with their traditional clothing, if they spoke their traditional language, or if they spoke about their beliefs. And if we learn from Islamic history, Bilal radiallahu anhu, who was tortured by the kuffar for saying La ilaha illallah, if we learn stories like this from Islam, if we come to Tamkeen, if we come to the Tuesday halaqas, if we come to the Saturday halaqas, if we commit to learning our knowledge, we will not be of the corrupted younger generation. We have to reverse what happened to the Native Americans. We cannot allow it to happen to our own selves or to our own youth. If we learn the story of Bilal radiallahu anhu, for example, as I mentioned, then we will be stronger in our faith. We will stand for the truth. We will not be afraid of any physical or mental punishment that will happen to us from the kuffar. I don't know if I mentioned it.
It's better to die a believer than live a coward.
Very good. How can innovation we will not end up in the same situation?
Commitment. I think commitment is definitely very, very important. To commit your time, to have a schedule, to really, really wire yourself to think that this is the most important thing ever. It is more important than your school. It is more important than your friends. It is more important than your culture. It is more important than whatever you think is more important. It's not. The most important thing is your deen, and the most important thing is carrying it with you. Your goal should be having a good deen. Your goal in the end should be dying with good akhlaq. You should not be thinking that it's okay where you are or anything like that. You need to always strive to do better and influence those around you.
Question يا شباب ويشوف hand. How many of you are coming from families who speak Arabic but you cannot speak, read, write Arabic? Raise up your hands. Read, write Arabic as if you are native. Raise up your hand if you think that you are from Arabic family and you cannot speak, read, write like the people who are back home. Raise up your hands. Okay, I see. This is, يا شباب, one of the first steps towards achieving their goals is that we lose our language. So make sure, يا شباب, maintain your language, and this is the language of the Quran, this is the language of one of the Hadith. Sound good? سيبا يعني ايه؟
We're certainly going to get a round of applause for that presentation. Okay, next rapid fire speech is public school and double life by 23.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How's everyone doing today? Now, before we get started, I'd like to give a summary of my article for those who haven't read it yet. The first topic I'd like to talk about is what is a double life? Well, to me, the double life is having different personalities based on who you're speaking to or where you're speaking at. Now, imagine this. Imagine you have a friend named Muhammad. Say you're at the park with Muhammad, playing soccer or basketball, and a group of people walk by, and they say a joke. This joke isn't exactly funny to you and Muhammad. You guys brush it off and continue to talk about whatever you guys are talking about. Later in the week, you hear a similar joke at school by a different group of people. But this time, the joke is funny to Muhammad, and he laughs. Muhammad starts to hang out with the people who said this joke. And it seems like he's always trying to fit in. Now, a big change happened to Muhammad. And this big change was his schedule. His schedule went from having a halaqah in the morning before Fajr, praying Fajr, going to school, coming back home, having a lunch or dinner, whatever you want to call it, doing his homework, practicing his Quran, sleep, and repeat. To now, waking up 20 minutes before school, scrambling to school, coming back home tired, taking a nap, waking up, doing his homework, playing video games for the next 2 hours till 1 a.m., sleep, and repeat. Now, all the great things that he had in his life, such as practicing his Quran, his halaqas, and socializing with other Muslim youth, have all been cut out of his life. Now, the next topic I'd like to talk about is how to avoid the double life. Well, the first thing is focus on school. Instead of focusing on socialization with all these non-Muslims that have weird ideologies, focus on your school. The next thing, have good friends. Having good friends is very important. And I'd like to start by saying a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah. A man follows the religion of his friend, so each one should consider whom he makes his friend. Now, let me repeat the first part one more time. A man follows the religion of his friend. The extent of having good friends goes all the way to your religion. Now, I'd like to say one more thing before I move on. This one you can hear Sheikh Muhammad Ali saying a lot. As-sahib sahib. The literal translation is, the friend is the puller. But to me, this means that a lot of what your friends are doing will reflect on you. The way they speak, the way they act will reflect on you. Now, the last thing is staying connected to your deen. Now, let's go back to Muhammad's life. He didn't drastically change in one day.
He started by missing a salah or two, say Fajr or Dhuhr. Then it became a routine. And instead of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 5 times a day, it slowly became 0. Now, salah is very important to you because this is 5 times a day. You're speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you're remembering your deen. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about, I've stressed a lot in my article, which was my request. Now, what was I exactly asking for? Well, I was asking for great teachers like Sheikh Muhammad Ali and Ustad Tamkeen to give halaqas to the Muslim youth and to make Muslim public schools so that instead of going to these public schools that your Suleiman was talking about, we could have Muslim public schools where we learn the deen and the Muslim history. Instead of having a math teacher who talks about what they did with their husband over the weekend, they talk about the great Muslim inventions, such as algebra, that was invented by a Muslim in Baghdad named Muhammad al-Khawari. Now, how can we achieve this? Well, Sheikh Ustad Muhammad talked about this the past 3 weeks. Having strive for sa'd, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, having a good niyyah, and acting upon what you say. And inshallah, we'll find out the last one next week in Ustad Muhammad's salam. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum.
All right, Jazakallah khair. Any questions from the audience?
What do you think, like, we as individuals do to avoid the double life, other than making Islamic schools and educating other people?
I think that making sure that your friends, your Muslim friends, stay away from these bad friends and stay connected to their deen.
What do you mean by Muslim public schools?
Public schools are led by Muslims, Muslim principals, Muslim administrators, things like that.
So you mean like getting government funding for a public school that teaches mainly Islamic teaching?
Exactly.
Okay, that's absolutely. So okay, let's say that you do go to these public schools and you have friends from there. Are we supposed to, let's say, interact with them the same way we would with like, let's say, our actual like Muslim friends? So let's say most people, they go to public school and then they have, like, let's say, a friend group over there, and they also have Muslims that they know from elsewhere, or even some of them from school. Are you supposed to interact with these two groups the same way?
Is the first group of friends Christians or like non-Muslims?
The ones from school are non-Muslims.
Okay. So you shouldn't have non-Muslim friends as close to you as Muslim friends.
Yeah, they're not like as close, but like still you like whatever, you're with them in school.
Yeah, you should talk to them. Just don't get. You shouldn't be friends with the people that are having weird ideologies and things like that. Even if you have non-Muslim friends, they should be good non-Muslims.
Okay.
Any questions from the boys' side before we move on to the other side?
So alhamdulillah, in Tamkeen, there's a lot of amazing young boys who understand public school or double life. They understand that when you go to a public school, you're going to be influenced by the wrong type of people. What would you say to the other boys, the other young boys who they don't understand that concept yet? They're still influenced. What would you do to them? What would you say to them? How would you convince them? Leave what you're doing, leave the people that you're influenced by, and strive for the sake of Allah and your deen.
I talked about this a little bit in my article, where I said, if you're still at the start of being influenced by these non-Muslims, you should try to avoid them as much as possible and don't get sucked into the point where, like I said, I made the great analogy, where you're already dead. You've left your deen. So I think at the start, you should just try to understand what you're taking from these non-Muslims to the point where you can start thinking, what am I taking that's good from them? What am I taking that's bad from this? And avoid the bad.
Okay, I'd like to say this one more time. MashaAllah, you're addressing the boys who understand this. You're addressing the boys who still have some hope. What about the other boys who are struggling to understand this concept? What would you do to them? Or like, you can either tell them something, you can, for example, if this was a girl, I would try to get closer to the girl, develop a relationship. What about the younger boys? Maybe they come to Tamkeen, maybe they don't. Do you reach out to them in school? Do you try to hold them closer? Like you said, sahibu sahir. Do you try to hold them in closer to the deen, or do you just lose hope in them?
You should obviously try to get them closer to you and try to make them join, for example, the Tuesday halaqa or the Saturday halaqa, and get closer to them to the point where you can start influencing what they're doing instead of these novels.
Also monitoring the Slido as well, so if you still have that open, just monitoring it.
So actually, one of the enjoyments in my life, Ibrahim, whenever the girls they start making fun of each other in front of me and they start imitating each other. Whatever art is about the double face, correct? So the girls, whenever they talk to me, they pick on one of the girls and they say, this is how she is speaking in front of you, Sheikh. And they start showing how she is talking very respectfully in front of me. And then they imitate her whenever she is talking to them. And then you can see, am I correct, Abanat? So they tell me, yeah, this is the way she is talking in front of you, Sheikh, and this is the way she is talking with us, the other girls. So you can see this concept of double life. It is understood. The way she is talking in front of the Sheikh is completely different in front of the girls. And sometimes even some of the girl admins, there's WhatsApp group where I am on this group with them. And there is another WhatsApp group that is between the girls only. But every now and then they make the mistake and some of those messages are sent by mistake on the group I am on. So you can see the difference in the language or the double face in the way they are talking. And this is natural. We all do this. But even your article is very touching, Ibrahim, on what? Many times the youth, we have really two faces. At home, they have one face, and their parents are convinced that their kids are angels. But in school, they are completely different personality. This gives me some hard time to convince the parents, no, your kids need some attention. How can you talk to the parents and tell them the image that you see for your kids, considering them an angel, is not the true image? Listen to the Sheikh Muhammad Ali and he will tell you all the horrible stuff. Any advice you want to give to the parent, Ibrahim?
I'm not exactly sure.
Yes, you want to be covering up your friends, I know.
I think I saw one more hand on the boys' side. Thank you, and then we'll continue, Sean.
Very good and important topic you attached to Rahim in a very good manner. What you say a double life, I see what the point is. Eventually it leads to just one single life. We all end up with only one life. And basically you just exit the life. That's the eventuality, which is the very, very terrible event for any person to be faced with. What we can do, and it is trying to answer one of the questions on the sister side, how you convince the people or the students or the young boys or girls who are not in key. Basically, you got to do a marketing, do the promotion. You got to be on the social media, the media that the young students consume. You need to be on that and show them an alternative way. And if you come in contact with the people who are not in your Tamkeen group, you need to socialize with them so that they become aware of it. So they know that there is an alternative. Because as we all know, every kid is born in fitra. So everybody knows inherently what is good and what is bad. So once they know there is an alternative, there is an option to go and do things otherwise, inshallah, and their nature they will come.
Are there any comments?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Brother Ibrahim. Very interesting and lecture. And one comment about the question about how do we behave with other religion students in the school. My comment is we came to this country as a messenger, so we should not isolate ourselves from the other ethnic or religions. We should still cooperate with them. However, as you said, not to go to their parties or anything like that, but still we have to help them during technical stuff, cleaning the kitchen, for instance, community instance, helping them. So that's our duty, and we should convey the message to behave well in a good manner, and that's how Islam spread to other countries with a good manner. So we should show them our cleanness, play with them maybe, talk to them, not to isolate ourselves. I think that's the best thing to do, how to take the message.
Any comments from him? Okay, quick question.
So I just want to say, I get the point of your article or your lecture was that you shouldn't have like not bad non-Muslim friends because then you'll end up being like them. But I kind of think that it doesn't just happen on you. You won't be like them. I mean, you will be like them, but they will also be like you. So like you have non-Muslim friends, they might just get closer to Islam and maybe convert. So that's just like I'm just saying that it's not that bad, but it's still bad. Yeah, you can be like them and prone to sin.
Any comments on that?
It depends on which one is making the most influence. It's very easy to get sucked into what they're telling you rather than what you're telling them.
I think it also depends on how many non-Muslim friends you have. If you are the only Muslim in your non-Muslim friend group, it makes a big difference than if it's one non-Muslim in a Muslim friend. Okay. Just one of the girls looked at me, she wanted me to mention something. And actually, this is not actually the topic of the article, basically. So the topic of the article is having two personalities, having two faces, the Muslim face, the righteous face at home. But whenever we go at school, we have, the personality that is doing whatever we want to do, even if it was haram, hanging out with bad friends. But here it is kind of an advice specifically for the girls, and it is something different, which is for the girls, it is important for a girl to develop two personalities. Personality in front of her mahrams and the personality with other girls, and that this isn't bad thing at all. This society pushes girls and says you cannot be two-faced. Okay, but in such cases, being two-faced is necessary. وكان ده مسج يا بنات. Inshallah, we have a great discussion, but I have to conclude it there. May I, another round of applause for Ibrahim. All right, next up on the list we have. I'm gonna be the one. We have examining the comparative fatality rates by Muhammad Sulaiman. Give another round of applause.
So if you read my article, basically you'll know that I've shared my thoughts on these natural disasters, the deaths from that, and also my thoughts on the whole Palestinian situation. So as we know, there's men that are fighting in Palestine, and those men are really true men. They're actually putting their foot down, and they're really even sacrificing their life really for the sake of Allah. And I believe that this is the way that inshallah we will open Palestine, because if we just sit on our couch and do nothing, nothing's going to happen, right? As the Sheikh says, being useless, nothing's going to happen. And so, alhamdulillah, may Allah reward these people the best. You know, they're actually working for the sake of Allah. And I believe that this is the way, inshallah, we will open Palestine. So, as we get closer to the Day of Judgment, there's many signs of that, minor and major signs. But today I want to touch on earthquakes and natural disasters. And, you know, we've been seeing more and more of these events happen. For example, we had the earthquake that hit Turkey and Syria about a year and a half ago, something like that. We also had the earthquake in Morocco, which triggered the trauma in Libya. And so as we go more and more into, you know, as we get closer to the Day of Judgment, we're going to see more and more of these events. And, you know, even there's the other, you know, the flooding of Dubai that happened. And, you know, Afghanistan had two earthquakes. And so, you know, even, you know, as more time we go by, more and more of these events are going to happen. And so there's two sides of this. There's the positives and the negatives. First of all, I'm going to touch on the negatives. So as we know, obviously, when earthquake or something like this does happen, or it's going to do a lot of damage. Property damage, you know, it's going to damage houses, hospitals, roads, and, you know, all of this stuff. And so that puts people in a really tough situation. Either, you know, financial, it's going to put them in a really tough financial situation. Next thing, so, you know, many people, they just don't have the patience. And so they'll think, what I'm going to say is wrong, but there are people like this. They're going to say, oh, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent this earthquake because, you know, He sent this earthquake because, you know, we're bad and, you know, I don't want to work for His sake or whatever it is. Of course, it's wrong, you know, saying that this is, you know, bad or whatnot. But there's people like that. And yeah, but that's the negatives. Positives, alhamdulillah, there will be the true people. Inshallah, like me and you, we'll say alhamdulillah for this earthquake. You know, it gives us time really to reflect and, you know, change our thoughts and, you know, even get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will really get us closer, you know, ask for Allah's forgiveness. It will give us the time to really think about all of our acts and overall basically get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what can we do from our side? Obviously, you know, as we get closer to the Day of Judgment, we're going to see more and more of these events, you know, these earthquakes and whatnot. So, you know, just seeing those videos on YouTube or whatever it is, those people that don't have food, you know, it just makes me sad. So if you have the money, you know, really, whatever it is, even $1, you know, send it to those people. It's really going to help them. I believe, like, you know, it's going to do something. Even, you know, when you're praying Fajr or whatever it is, you know, trying to remember your brothers in these earthquakes or whatever it may be, even in Palestine, make dua for them. And that could help. Also, what I really recommend do, if you have the time and money, is to visit them. If you can go and, you know, see them in person, you know, you being there, your emotions, you just being there really does a big difference. And so if you have the time and money, really go visit them. And lastly, I want to say this, get closer to Allah. You know, read more Quran, you know, pray Qiyam al-Layl every single day. Really think of Allah 24/7. Lastly, what I'd like to say is this can include answering the quiz. Yeah, answering the quiz, sure, it doesn't really do anything, or like it won't open Palestine itself, or, you know, open earthquake. But what it really is going to do is it's going to get you closer to Allah. It's going to show that, hey, you know, you're committed and you want to do this, and, you know, inshallah, you will continue to answer the quiz and you won't fade out, and then it will open more doors for you, and inshallah, we'll ask you to work for us. Like, for example, of course, let's say, work in the media team, make videos, work in the activity team, work in the line, whatever it may be. And then from there, inshallah, we will ask you to, or inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open more doors, and then Allah can use you, if He sees you, to open Palestine. Jazakumullah khairan. Do we have any questions, comments, or anything that you guys would like to add?
Okay, any questions from Muhammad? Yes. What is the other? No.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes, sure.
So one concern I had was the point you made about visiting the people of Gaza. How do you want us to jump the border of this? I don't know. How do you want us to visit them?
So actually visiting Gaza is kind of tough, but what I meant to say is, visiting the people after the earth, like these natural disasters. For example, when Turkey had their earthquake, if you can go and visit them and really, help them, and that's what I meant. That's what I meant to say by visiting. Okay, yeah. So,
So Muhammad, there was a message that I got from your article, and I want to make sure people do not miss it. Question: how many people died in the earthquake of Turkey?
I don't remember. I think it's.
I don't remember. Some numbers.
You want? Yeah.
Go ahead. How many died in the earthquake of Turkey and Syria?
I don't know. Not for. I don't. Maybe 39,000, something like this. Yeah.
30 something.
39. Yeah.
No.
39,000.
I was saying 40 and you were offended and you should know it is 39. Allah Musta'an, well, give us patience. Okay, how many died in the earthquake of Morocco? Roughly, Muhammad, don't pick me up. I didn't count them one by one.
To be honest, I forgot.
A few thousand.
Yeah.
People from Morocco, how many died in the earthquake of Morocco? People of Morocco. Amatullah Aida Jannat, how many people died? Huh? No, in Morocco. 3, 4, I guess. Huh? 3,000. How many people died in the flooding of Libya? Yeah. What was that? How many people died in the flooding of Libya? By the way, there is no exact counting. Flooding swiped villages in this, but how many died? People say 15, okay? So let's say 39 in Turkey and Syria, 3 in Morocco, 15 in Libya. Those are from what? Natural disasters. May Allah accept them in Jannah. How many people died in Gaza?
I had the number in the morning, but I just forgot it.
30 something.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, like that.
Roughly speaking,
yes.
more or less.
Roughly, yes.
I think the main message of your article, Muhammad, as I understood it, which way would you like to die? Gaza, fighting for your freedom, or in your bedroom being swiped by a flood in the sea? Do not let anyone come and say, see how many people are killed in Gaza, 30,000 or whatever they are killed. They should not have fought for their freedom. They have 30 something, but in Turkey, 39, not 40,000 died out of a natural disaster. So it may be better to die for the sake of Allah than dying in your bedroom. And Jazakallah for writing this article. This message is very strong. Jazakallah khair. You didn't read your article.
You said that some people might say that the earthquake, like Allah did it because He wants to punish people because they're bad, but you're saying that's not good. No, so why not? Like, what if Allah wants to punish people because they're bad? What's wrong with that? So that's that. Doing that, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, earthquake because people are bad. It could be good because they inshallah. But basically, some people will think that, Allah subhanahu, this is wrong, of course, but they'll think that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this earthquake, and I shouldn't I don't know, this is how do I say it, they said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this earthquake, and so they hate, exactly, that's what I wanted to say in a different way. They'll hate Allah, and this is bad. There are actually some people, this is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So, from what I understood, are natural disasters and stuff like that, do they come to the cities where like the most haram is happening and stuff like that?
So this is what I actually wanted to touch on. So as we've seen with these natural disasters, they've been hitting mostly areas where Muslims are living. But you're saying for us, we live here in a non-Muslim country, so will we be treated the same or I mean, inshallah, may Allah make it easy for all of us, but yeah.
I guess kind of my reflection was, would you say that it's just kind of like a thought that came to my mind, I don't know how accurate it is,
But these natural disasters are coming to the Muslim land kind of like as a kafara for them because they still believe in Allah. And maybe if they suffer through some natural disasters, these can help them kind of give them that extra push to Jannah. But people here, they're already non-Muslim, so they're already not believing. It's not worth it. It's not a huge natural disaster. They'll suffer at the end in the hellfire. That's kind of like what my reflection was from like the picture presentation.
This is a good point.
Just like that. Even during the time of Umar ibn Khattab and the companions in Medina, there was an earthquake. So the natural disaster, it can happen to anyone. It can be punishment, or it can be lifting up your status in Jannah or patience. It can be different. It can happen anywhere, but based on whom it is hitting, it is good. Even at the same city, someone may be punishment from him, another may be lifting up his status. So.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, I fully agree. So the natural disaster like earthquake, it's just a reminder for us as a dhikra to keep educating ourselves, staying with the faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the reading of the Quran. It's mentioned in the Surah Al-Quran, and I don't memorize it, but there is a possibility of earthquake every time, where just to remind us, stick with the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And regarding the natural, what's happening right now, maybe in Sudan also, it's not mentioned here. People are dying, but I think that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sunnah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to follow and abide, and we say Alhamdulillah every time.
Yes, I wanted to make the same point as what the Sheikh did and Muhammad did. A natural disaster is a natural disaster. It can be used as a punishment. It should be used as a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to recognize His ultimate power and sovereignty over each and every one of us on this world of universe. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to punish somebody, first, nobody will escape. The punishment of the people of Sodom, Qawm, whoever Allah wants to punish, they cannot escape Allah's punishment. So I think it is a very weak argument to use natural disasters as a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, it can be. It is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I think it's more of a sign.
So, I'm sorry, but I feel I have repeat questions. I'm going to move on to some people that we haven't heard before because we're running a bit short on time, so apologize.
Can we get the name of the article there? Yeah. What is the last line of the article title? Palestine-Israel conflict.
Is it?
Yes. Oh, the arguments, okay.
In general, like regardless of the genocide or not, is it Palestine-Israel conflict?
It's a genocide, and I mean I don't believe in Israel, so it's Palestine only.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning that because like I think I have heard it today 2 times that people are trying to make it kind of a more scoped down thing against the other so-called state. So just like we need to be aware that we are not being impacted by the social media or the Western media, that they're trying to show it like as a Palestine-Israel conflict, which is not. Actually, it's a Muslim-Israel conflict. If it's an Israel, but like it's a Muslim conflict. It's not Palestine. Like if you go through the history, how that evolved, it was originally Muslim against them. Then they tried to make it Arab against them. Then they made it Palestine against them. Now they are making Gaza against them. So you could see how they are scoping it down. So you make everyone like living in their own bubble, and you never care about like whatever happening to people outside.
And for sure you have been impacted, and myself I would be impacted. It's like something that we need to note it down.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. I'm gonna ask you real quick, has anything on the girl side, any questions? Okay, well, Muhammad, last thing.
Also, this shows like I feel like yeah, a lot of the qadar of Allah can happen in any way or whatever, but you should also like prepare for these natural disasters because all these earthquakes happen in that kind of made sense. Like the Morocco one, there's 2 tectonic plates. The one in Syria, there's 3 tectonic plates. The one in Afghanistan, there's 2 tectonic plates. So kind of makes sense. No one talks about like Indonesia having earthquakes because they always do, but they prepare for it. Same with like Japan. A lot of countries, they still have a lot of earthquakes, just they're prepared for it. So they still have to prepare for these hurricanes or anything like that. Even though like obviously it's qadr of Allah, but
Okay, barakallah. Any comments? Okay. Another round of applause for Muhammad. Okay, moving on. We have our last article for the rapid fire section of this first rapid fire section. The next article that we have is City of All Cities by
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So I wrote this article after I performed Ramadan, alhamdulillah. And I have 2 main goals that I hope to accomplish by presenting to you guys today. The first goal is to motivate you guys to perform Ramadan, inshallah. And my second goal is to educate you guys about the significance of Mecca and its importance in our deen. So why did I write this article? So why did
that admins will not yell at you.
Basically, Sheikh sent a message on WhatsApp. MashaAllah, multiple Tamkeeners made it to Mecca this past winter as well. And Sheikh always asks them to write their thoughts down and to actually write reflection articles. So by writing this article, I want to basically be the first ever Tamkeener who wrote a reflection article about this great city. And may Allah accept it from all of us, inshallah. So what is Mecca? Obvious question. No, obvious answer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Imran, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِبَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا وَهُدًى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Surely the first house of worship established for humanity is the one at Mecca, a blessed sanctuary and a guide for all people. Notice how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't use the word Mecca in this ayah, rather he uses the word Mecca. Why? I do not know. Maybe someone can make a reflection article on that point. But the word Mecca basically means to crowd around in the bazaar, just how Mecca is crowded, full of people from all the world flocking to it. And it is the first ever place of worship meant for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's worship ever in the history of mankind. The virtues of Mecca. We all know Mecca is super significant, but why and how? One prayer in Masjid al-Haram is 100,000 times more excellent than anywhere else, which is crazy to think about. Like, I want you guys to just think about it for a minute. Imagine you pray Salah and you just get 1 hasan. You pray that same Salah in Mecca, you get 100,000 times the reward. SubhanAllah. Just let that sink in your head. Which is a really okay. Mecca, the sanctuary decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ever since the creation of the heavens and the earth, which basically means there's no hunting allowed, no fighting, no war. You cannot even cut down trees. And there is no entry for non-Muslims, just how I showed in the picture here. As you're driving the highway to Mecca, it shows a bigger sign, no Muslims allowed. It is the direction of prayer, the Qibla for all Muslims worldwide. 2 billion people are facing this place every single day to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the chosen place for the rituals of Hajj, and traveling there is an act of worship. Humanity and equality in Mecca. So we all know there's millions of people traveling to this place every single year, from all nationalities, whether you're poor, rich, look like this guy, weak, like, I don't know, I can't, okay. Okay, yeah, you're gonna see everybody wearing these 2 pieces of humble attire, the ihram, which just shows how everyone is equal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Being chosen by Allah, which is probably the most beautiful point I mentioned in this article. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said the pilgrims performing Hajj and Umrah are a delegation to Allah. If they call upon Him, He will answer them. If they ask for forgiveness, He will forgive them. And for academic honesty, this grade is Hasan, but it is still worthy to mention. Basically, this hadith is telling us that if you're invited to the city of Mecca, you have been specifically handpicked to come by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, to worship Him alone. Allah has specifically chosen you to come, and you're basically the life of the Rahman, you're the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, my last point, when is our next Umrah? When is our next Umrah, inshallah? As you can see in the picture, 5 years ago, Diya, Noor, Sheikh, who's that? Haitham, and Ustad Kamhawi, they all made it to Mecca, they've all been invited. And I really want to make this a reality. Maybe in the next few years, could we plan a Tamkeen Umrah if possible? Inshallah, if we're invited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Could we? Sure.
Well, I'm down. When I went to this Umrah, I promised my girls that they are going to be next, and I didn't take them yet. But if you are down, I'm down this winter break, inshallah. Bless you.
Inshallah. Okay, jazakumullah khairan.
Any comments for Ibrahim on his article? Starting from the boys' side, anybody want to say anything?
Wait, what was the last thing he talked about before saying Jazakumullah khairan? What was the last thing? Wait, how are you guys gonna go to Umrah and all the passports and that stuff?
We're like smart people.
Okay, and another question is, they said there's no war allowed in Mecca, but what if because there was one time in history, the Mongols almost invaded it, but they were stopped by some Egyptian people. I don't know if they were Egyptian. They tried to. Yeah, but they didn't reach it. Yeah, but what if they reached it and killed all the people there?
Self-defense is legend.
So what if somebody destroyed the Kaaba and killed everyone?
No, actually, Hamza, he touched on 2 very important points, Shabab, if you understand. Or I'm not sure if he even understands his question, but the first question is very important. Regarding going Umrah as Tamkeen, we would love to go to Umrah as Tamkeen. And I remember, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, and I remember my girls with some of the girls, older girls over here, they wanted also to make this Tamkeen Umrah. But really going with people who are less than 18 is not easy. This is why even at this Umrah, the plan was somehow to take all the boys, but Noor was under 18 at that time. And this is why I went with them at that time. Everyone else was above 18. So really crossing the borders and traveling internationally with minors is not easy. You have to have, if you would like to have something like this plan with Tamkeen, you have to have the designation as a school and do some additional arrangement. So it is not, make sure you voice. Make sure if you would like to do this, either we wait for 3 more years till you till you can join us. Am I correct?
Almost 16, so.
Okay. Or make a plan. And again, for anything to happen, it needs someone to do the effort behind it. So to take people who are at the age of Hamza, either we have to wait for 18 more years, correct? To take Hamza with us, or someone need to do the paperwork for. The other question, when Mecca was attacked by people and people were killed in Al-Haram, and the black stone, Al-Hajar al-Aswad, was stolen, and Al-Hajar al-Aswad remained 20-something years stolen out of Mecca. Who did this? Who wrote this? Are you aware of this history?
I don't know exactly who did that, but I've heard about it.
Part of Shia called Al-Qaramita. They attacked Mecca. They killed people during the season of Hajj. They stole Al-Hajar al-Aswad. They took it all the way to the eastern part of the Arab Peninsula and they smashed it. And if you see Al-Hajar al-Aswad as of now, you don't have a picture, but people may misunderstand what is Al-Hajar al-Aswad. This black color that you see in Al-Hajar al-Aswad, it is glue. Al-Hajar al-Aswad, what is remaining is 7 small pieces glued in this black glue because it was smashed by Al-Qaramita when it was stolen by them. So it happened before, and Allah knows when it will happen. And for your knowledge, Ya Shabab, one of the signs of the Day of Judgment, Mecca will be demolished by the end of the time.
Any other questions? Yes.
So when you were in Mecca, which hotel did you stay in and how was the breakfast?
Well, good point. You say equality and equality in every people, and there are 5-star hotels over there, and people who have to walk for hours to read.
Okay, so everybody, this is like I'm gatekeeping. Okay, like just take it as a good Millennium, Mecca, and Nasim, 5-star hotel, super luxury, but it's like a 15-minute bus ride. They have free showers 24/7, amazing food, but like, nobody knows about it. It's like $50 a night. It's just so good.
It doesn't have to be Mecca. We'll have good food.
Okay,
Last time I paid $30. It was 50-minute walk, but no breakfast.
Okay.
For myself.
Okay.
Yeah. So, just said that the black stone in Mecca, it's black because of the glue, right? Because when I was little, I thought it used to be white, but because of the sins of Muslims, it became black. So that's what I thought.
The black stone, the evidence of the black stones are black. But not everything that you see is kind of silver thin. You see how big the silver thin is? The black stone is not 7 pieces of the red. Which are black, but everything else is not blue, not the black stone.
Okay, any comments and questions for Ryan's article? Do you have anything from the sister side?
He said there's something about it.
All right. Let's look on the slide. I don't see anything on the slide already. Okay.
Oh, no, actually, it was not censored. It was sent to me, I guess.
Should I read it all or should I skip the first part? Is the atmosphere genuinely different? Does everything feel different? Would walking over there feel different than walking here? Similar over there versus smiling over there versus smiling here, being in an environment where everyone's intention is for forgiveness.
Well, it is.
It's different?
It feels like I'm in a different one. Okay. That's
So everything feels different over there.
You can see everyone is covered up, mashallah. everyone is over there only for one sole purpose, is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it really just makes a difference. So it's always different.
Let me ask you a question, Ibrahim, that just came to my mind based on this question. I remember my sheikh used to say there is a barakah in Al-Madinah, the city of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I remember my sheikh saying, if you eat one plate, if you usually eat one plate, you go to Medina, you eat half a plate, and because of the barakah, you feel full. I wanted to ask you, Ibrahim, given that you eat 10 plates in a meal, did you feel the barakah and you were eating less over there in Medina, or it didn't make a difference?
I don't know about that. I just got like a double big sandwich from Al-Big. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How many?
2.
Is it good enough for you?
No, but it is.
Yeah. Usually whenever someone goes, he eats 50. Anything else, Ibrahim? Okay, I gotta get another big round of applause for Tamkeen. Okay, so looking at the time, it's almost 1:30. So for the schedule, inshallah, we're going to take lower and light refreshments break. And actually, I think according to the schedule, we're also moving to a different room. Is that right? So inshallah, we're going to wrap up over here, inshallah, and take a quick break for some refreshments and door, and then we'll reconvene at 2:15, inshallah. Any guidance you want to give? I think the rule for the salah and refreshment is the one I sent to you. Yes. And then we're going to get back to the auditorium over here around. Yes. So yeah, so we're going to go to the room that we're going to. So we're going to go to unit 1. This is for the no salah. So inshallah, we're going to go to unit 1202. Yeah, that's salah and snacks. Unit 1202. Yeah, that's where we're going to have the snacks and the salah, inshallah. And then afterwards, we're going to be reconvening back at the auditorium, not over here, so it's a bigger room. And it's just the auditorium is just down the hall over here. Can you one set time for salat? People are there on time for the food. Yes. So inshallah, let's pray. Let's target the door of prayer, inshallah, at maybe 1:35. That gives us around 9 minutes. Or no, 9 minutes, inshallah, for wudu. You want to make 2 more? 7 minutes? 15 minutes? Let's have 15 minutes. So inshallah, let's make the event with the prayer, inshallah. Yeah, inshallah, we're going to aim to pray at 1:45, inshallah, Lord. At 1:35, 1:45, 1:40. Okay, 1:40. We pray, and then we have the snacks, and then we get back to the auditorium over here. Yeah, we don't want 202, so inshallah. We shut down this. We will do, they are going to inshallah open it up again, inshallah, soon. But we're going to open it, inshallah.